Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Comics de la Morte 112. Deuces are wild with a new guest, Reece Jenkins. How are you doing, sir? I hope you like the intro in the beginning.
Awesome, man. That's freaking awesome. Thank you so much for having me on your show
Yeah,
tonight. How's everyone
not a
doing?
problem. No one in the chats yet, but hey, people could always watch on the afterplay. But before we start getting into your comic and some awesome stuff, let me just ask, what made you fall in love with comics in the beginning? And you're an artist too, so when did you start doing artwork as a kid?
Well, when I first started out, like I've always been able to draw my whole entire life, and
Hmm.
I really like when I was a kid, I used to draw Ninja Turtles a whole lot, and that was like the
Same here.
beginning of. So we were all Turtles fans at one point or another, man, and going from there, I went and started drawing my own characters. And as I got older, I started developing this talent to work on. Then, obviously, like with most people, with the pandemic hit, and I have a son, so me and my son used to come up with ideas to create these characters, these amazing characters. And we never, it was just a fun story. We used to work, between each other. And then last year, um, I got the opportunity to start doing variant covers, and as I say, the rest is history. Yeah.
Sorry, guys, just having some technical difficulties. Trying to get the guests back. There you go.
There we are. We're back
Yeah,
now. Yeah, lost you for just a second there.
yeah, gotcha. All right,
But
so
yeah, um, yeah,
you were talking about Ninja Turtles and everything.
mhm. Yeah.
Like
I
what?
got the Ninja Turtles at a young age, and
Mhm.
mhm.
Gotcha. And with comics and everything, when did you
Yeah, go
start?
ahead.
Can you hear me? Okay, good. So with comics and everything, when did you start, really sitting down and be like, okay, I want to start learning how to make comics instead of just reading them?
Actually, it's funny you say that. Hi, Dan.
What's up, Dan?
I did last year. Um, yeah, I met a guy by Mark Bernal, the lesson on comics, and he offered me the opportunity. I did a variant cover him for his book, I Either Them or Us, and we got to talking, and kind of piqued my interest about comics. He was like, with the type of artwork that you guys, you have a talent where to do comics. And then I was like, oh, that sounds like a interesting idea. Mark approached me, and I just started from there. And this is my first year. So, yeah.
Awesome. I don't know if there's static from your side, but I kind of hear some back static. I don't know if that was your mic or not.
Yeah, I just just a little bit. Like I said, we're having technical difficulties.
Yeah, as long as people could hear you, that's what matters. So, you started young drawing Ninja Turtles, then you start falling in love with comics. Tell people a little bit about what your comics is about and where you got the inspiration to write this story in the first place.
comic is about a CIA operative that has been working for CIA for over a decade. His brother unfortunately gets killed. First starts his career, and 10 years later, he was up getting the opportunity to get his brother's murder. And as investigating the case of his brother, he finds out there seems to be secrets and mystery to the story. And the more he tries to go into the development, so it's like a jump film with 90s style cartoon feature feel to it. I think the fans will really enjoy the story making and the artwork itself.
Awesome. And with the style itself, like when did you decide to sit down and really hone your skills to develop the style that you have?
Oh wow, that's a big question.
Because I dig it. I dig the work.
Last year, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Yeah, like it's always been my style of drawing, do like fans well and variant covers for numerous comics as well. But the style isn't right now. It's something I've developed a long time. It's, it's just that I'm very fortunate to actually bring it to a panel format. Say for DEUCE'S R WILD. So I was very fortunate for that to comics.
Very cool. And how long would you say it actually took to sit down and write out the whole story and get it really clean? Because, as I know myself, it takes a long time not just to write a comic, but if you're doing the artwork too and it's color, it takes, quite a bit of time for panel to panel, depending on how many pages it was.
Yeah, let's say it took roughly a year. You really get the story and development. I'm used to drawing like these masterpieces with the artwork. I went from doing masterpieces to writing it down to do the panel work. So yeah, we're looking at about like this worth of work, just panel it and just to write the story itself. Something that we both came up with the idea. So, it was a lot of work going and, we just having fun. So the whole entire development of the story was amazing feat to accomplish over that short amount of time.
Very cool. So with that and everything, like, was this like your passion project, or this is something that just came up to you on the top of your head? Because some people, they had a story since they were a kid and they just really wanted to tell it.
This right here was a project, like I said, began back in say, roughly 2020.
Yeah.
It was an idea during that time. That Sean and I we came up with this thing where we tell each other a part of it, and then the other one finishes the other part of the story, and we come up with these wild characters. And we're both wrestling, so we like to have like backgrounds to our characters and what would they have this type of stuff going. So that's where we get the idea for DEUCE'S R WILD. And we worked on it together and just developed it over all this time.
Gotcha. Very awesome. And when you started to make comics, how hard was it for you to like really sit down and be like, okay, I'm adding too much dialogue to one panel. I have to hone down my writing skills so everything is not just a long on sentence, and you're actually like trying to use the artwork to tell the story just as well.
It's funny you say that. With with the odds that I came up with for the book. The funny thing is, I actually did artwork before I wrote dialogue into the story. So kind of gave me a little way to break it down to certain panels.
So you did the Marvel way.
On the story itself. Yeah, yeah, brother. Just a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Nothing wrong with that. And, you know, when it comes to writing comics, is this, would you say, is your like favorite type of like genre or comic to get into? Because, you know, some people, they like superhero comics. Then you got people who are like all about horror, or even some people, you know, trying to get into nothing but the romance. Like, would you decide to like venture out, or is this just the type of writing that you wanted to do for your career as a comic book creator?
Well, being a new writer, I grew up during the you know, like the age of the Image comics.
Yeah.
I remember that golden age of Marvel, and then when Image Comics hit the scene, it kind of like revolutionized the industry in a way where, you know, you brought in all the artists, all these new ideas, all these new characters. I grew up on that
Yeah.
group at that time, and
I was.
If I ever had an opportunity to do something like this, I'm like, that's so cool.
Yeah, I'm 38, and I remember that whole time when that stuff came out. You know, you had your comics that your parents or like someone had, and then you had Image that just came out of the blue. Like, I even remember as a kid, like everybody buying up the Death of Superman, you know. So yeah, definitely interesting times and a big boom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The industry's up so much during that time, man.
Mm-hmm. Now, I've seen that you're the co-creator. Like, is that correct? And someone else helped you with Deuces Are Wild?
Son. It's a father and son. We both worked on this book together. You know, it's setting up for the next generation. Nate is a genius. He's like the master scientist, and I was a little worker. So we worked together on this. If you look on the cover, actually, it was dear to for me to draw the cover the way it was with the golden gun. You know, aspect of that. You know, I was coming. We had a lot of thumbnails to do it, and I remember he was like, "Dad, that's not gonna fly. You gotta change it and do this." And I was like, "All right, cool. It works out."
Yeah, I mean,
it just so happened did, man.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those things. Just like with, you know, a novel that's just a bunch of words. It's important to know that the front cover of your comic, if it's not like a big eye catcher and drawing people in, it's not going to sell, or it's not going to grab the audience's attention. That's why as a kid growing up, like I said, I'm 38. I remember going to, you know, Blockbuster Video, and my dad, he didn't care that we watch horror movies as kids. So I was like, oh, I don't know what that movie is, but the art to the front cover looks amazing. I got to get it just because the cover sold it to me, you know? And yeah, just I really like your cover designs and just the style and just everything. Again, as an artist who does the writing and drawing for my own comic, it's important to let your comic do the storytelling, because if you need dialogue to explain what's going on, you're already losing the audience.
Yeah, that's how I feel, especially when you're working on your first book.
Mm-hmm. Especially for you, you're doing an action suspense story. You know, I bet it was difficult. I don't know how difficult it was for you when you started learning how to draw, but like vehicles, especially motorcycles, could be very complex unless you're trying to draw it like the old, unless you're trying to drive motorcycles, the old school like 90s Ghost Rider, where you didn't put too much into detail, you just had boxy stuff, you know.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Well, there was well, you know, I grew up on a lot of it as well. So
Hmm.
I remember like you know, Ghost in the Shell and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Akira, that was a major favorite anime. So remember the motorcycle battle in there, and that
Hmm.
real major influence on what's on Deuces and Wild now.
Yeah. There was a lot of great stuff that came during that time period. I'm just happy that we're not going back to the whole comic times where everybody has a bunch of pouches around their waist and around their arms, and these pouches don't have no purpose except for just being there for show. Like I can't remember what character, but it was probably one
Mhm.
of like the characters from Image where they got like 20 pouches wrapped around their body and they're not even using half a majority of them. I'm like, why? You know, or everything was like chains and leather vests.
That yeah, that was like Image's at that time. That was
Hmm.
like their call. Any character they had that would do it, I mean, they had like 20,000 pouches on them, and you're
Yeah.
like, okay, is he gonna throw something or?
Hmm. Exactly. So with Deuces Are Wild, like how many issues are you planning to come out with this? Because you know you have this very big story about this guy basically getting revenge on his, you know, his brother's killers. Like, is it like going to be like a 3-page run, 20-page run? Because you know sometimes depending on how complex the story is, you could go on for a while.
Well, we're looking at the story for the long run, and thank you again to Image and the Kickstarter that currently right now for today.
Yeah, you're fully
Um,
funded. Congrats.
it's going to be about yeah, we are fully funded. Thank you to the fans for doing that, man. And the guy Mark Renault, the guys Dan Price and Brandon Phillips, these guys, everyone works so hard this book, getting it out there and getting it to me. So I thank them so much for that, first and foremost. Get back to your question. This is like a 5-part series. We look to. Because man, this story, like you say, it go on and on. But you know, at some point, you know, you gotta give the fans television, you know,
Hmm.
or something.
I got you. I got you. Very cool on that. And with the Kickstarter and everything, do you got like any special cool tiers? Like, you know, you could get a special uh, image that you can't, because I know some people they do stickers, some people they do T-shirts. Are you doing anything like that with the Kickstarter?
With Kickstarter, let's see. With the first one, it's so the second one, straightforward and cut. You get the physical. Have the third one is covered by Ray Russell. That's doing outstanding. There's Tank McGregor.
Hmm.
For less comics as well. Um, and he did a variant cover for this. So it's massive. I'm talking about insane the work that does. Also, we have sketch cover. We're going to be doing a sketch cover. That's going to be like 75 for those.
Hmm.
Those are going to be pretty cool. Like you get design a personalized cover. So if you love the work I'm doing now, because I do a lot of fan art, you can follow my Instagram as well. But if you see some of the fan work I do, like I can go all in, custom made stuff like that. And man, I have so much fun from the stuff that I make. And we also have gallery, art gallery we're doing,
Hmm.
and that's going to be real fun. It's an art gallery book full of fan that comes out as one of the tiers as well. And then to finish it all off, we have the lesson creation, which the collection is like all the entire work together, and everything's like, I mean, you have like about 6, 7 books that are insane, and then you're going to get like a whole entire collection on top of that. So you have my job done, which means like all the covers that I've worked on, as well as the collection having fun lesson on comics.
Very cool. I always like to see something new and great out there, especially what you're saying, like, the 90s, because everything was action packed. I mean, people try to say, oh, everything's superheroes now, but, you know, we had a lot of cool 90s comics developing into TV shows and movies. I mean, look at Witchblade. You can't deny Crow was a big impact and one of the most successful comic book movies out there during the time. And even with the before Marvel did the whole like Disney thing, it was a horror suspense action packed movie, Blade, that really helped Marvel do that stuff, because even before Sam Raimi's Spider-Man, you had Blade. So I always go back to, you know comics don't always need to be just superhero goody two shoes stuff. We need some action, we need some suspense, we need some violence going on, and yeah, just really exciting stuff from what I've read up on your comic, the pages, the panels, just really great stuff.
Thank you. Yeah, sometimes you just need a badass.
Exactly. Yeah.
All about badass. I remember when Spawn came out. Remember, we had Spawn. Spawn was like the first hero anti-hero, besides Blade, of course. And really, really started off, and that was like very dark. But at the same time, it had that like he was just kicking butt, man.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the same thing you get with DEUCE'S R WILD. It was, definitely was something that I wanted to rate with my character. I really want the fans to get that action pack. Many times you get a very deeper part of the story.
Very cool. So we're almost like in 24 minutes in. Do you want to talk anything else about your comic before we hop in the questions and let the audience pretty much get to know you as a creator? Because that's the thing sometimes, that you have these comics and you have these interviews that just pretty much ask you the typical questions, but just like with events and comic cons, you have to develop a relationship between your audience, and the audience has to get to know who you are, because all they're thinking about is that, hey, there's just this person here trying to sell their comic. I want to know who they really are and what gave them inspirations and stuff like that.
Oh man, that's so cool. Let's go.
All right.
Let's do this.
Yeah, so if anybody here like Eddie Cool TV, I don't know if you're still watching, but this is a comic book review / horror show. So majority of the comics that me and my co-hosts or other people that come on here are like horror related, because horror comics are great, and yeah, you can't get enough of horror. So Reece, I'll ask you two different. Well, actually, you could answer them both at the same time. What was your favorite horror movie as a kid growing up, and why?
Pumpkin.
Pumpkinhead.
I remember
Ooh.
Pumpkinhead when I was little. That's because it's scary. Yeah.
Yeah, but Pumpkinhead is like the monster design, a great monster design. Like,
the whole like costume and everything. And it was during that time period where, you didn't get to chance to see the full like view of Pumpkinhead. They kind of waited for a little bit into the movie to show you what he really was. When that's what I hate about horror movies now. They show you the monster in the beginning of the trailer. I'm like, no, I want to be on the edge of my seat. I want to be able to say, I don't know what this thing looks like until halfway through the movie. So yeah, Pumpkinhead, great Pumpkinhead, great choice. Yeah, yeah. And now, as an adult, would you say that you're still your same favorite movie, or do you have a new one with everything that's come out lately?
Well, like you said, with the newer age cinema now, you don't have that same. I became
Especially everything CGI now.
um, yeah, it kind of takes away from it a little. You know, I have seen a couple great. I'm a make fan also. Like it was the original beginning of the first, I think, 3 or 4 movies.
Yeah.
Pretty awesome.
Gotcha. Yeah. We've talked about like John Carpenter's The Thing on here. When you can get like old school movies that have like animatronics and puppets and everything, it's just so much better than having everything CGI. So,
Yeah.
okay. So now we got your favorite movie and everything. What would be your favorite, like, it even doesn't even have to be 80s, but like your favorite horror movie slasher? It could be Freddy, it could be Candyman, anybody that really like scared you as a kid, but you say that he's awesome because, as I said, just like depending on who grew up, like depending on what when you grew up, it's one of those things like you have kids at the playground saying, "Oh, Superman could beat the crap out of Thor," or vice versa. Everybody has debates on what what horror slasher could beat up who.
That would probably the original, the new one was too bad. But Stephen King.
Oh yeah, Tim Curry.
I was terrified for a long time, man.
Yeah, Tim Curry. Tim Curry knows how to play a monster. I mean, look at when he played the devil in that, what is it? Legend with Tom Cruise. Yeah, just all out. All Out knows how to be mischievous, and yeah, just I'm not saying I didn't like the remake, but the original, just the way Tim did everything, just perfect, perfect. And everybody, yeah, exactly. And it's like the remake, it showed uh his brother's arm getting bit off, and you saw more gore, but sometimes you don't need to have all that gore to have something be really scary. And Tim, he did everything.
Perfect.
Yeah. So, we got your favorite slasher and recent monster killers, but when it comes to like Universal Studio creatures like Dracula, Frankenstein's monster, the Wolfman, is there any characters out of that group that really piques an interest out of you and draws you really in?
I would say the Wolfman.
Yeah.
I like of the character
Hmm.
and the depth they created the character.
Yeah.
And you got to see a different side of the humanity of Zion.
Hmm. Now, with that question, you saying the Wolfman, like, what do you prefer better? Do you like when movies go with the whole Wolfman look, or do you like when movies go with more the werewolf look, where it looks more animal-like than a man?
You got to go old school, man.
Yeah.
We're going to talk like good old black and white Wolfman. Not I'm talking about like the real type of Wolfman, you know?
Yeah, because don't get me wrong, like Underworld and American Werewolf in London, great stuff. But with American Werewolf in London, the transformation is great, but not everybody likes to see their werewolf be like more of a wolf where it's on all fours, or with with Underworld, it's more of like a werewolf with a tail and everything. Like I definitely like more the Wolfman look, because you still have like a part of humanity in there. And yeah, it's more terrifying but sad at the same time, in a way, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah,
now
like we see trying to fight against the animal.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And besides Deuces Are Wild, do you ever have a passion project in the future where you just want to go all out, like with like pure horror comics and suspense that way? Because if you do, you definitely, let me know, and I'll get you back on the show to promote that as well.
I have a couple of things tricks up my sleeve.
Awesome.
Definitely some goals in the goblin. So stay tuned for that. You have to wait on Kickstarter. We have like 2 weeks left on this Kickstarter. So we're gonna have a couple of things planned up. So be prepared.
Awesome. Very cool. Now, when it comes to you getting to prepare for this and everything, like not even just writing and drawing horror, like, of course, with the way horror has become, is there a limit as how far you go? Because, there's some movies out there that are going like with the whole like torture porn, where there's really no great story behind it and there's no suspense. It's just like a bunch of ways to just find a way to make a person puke. Me personally, I don't like horror movies like that, because I want to have a good story instead of having, all this stuff just to like make you grotesque. Like, I say it again and I'll say it all the time. I do not like the Human Centipede movies. I just think they're pointless.
No, it makes no sense to me.
Yeah.
No. I mean, when it comes to Human Centipede is one of those.
Yeah.
I like the storyline. Like I like the build.
Yeah.
Anticipation of the terror aspect of the movie. Give me a great story. Like example, Pinhead. Whenever they would create a Pinhead, you got to together and you're like, okay, you can follow this story.
Yeah.
Like with Pumpkinhead. The father, and you're building up the story. The more you take away to get building up the story. Then you're not doing.
Right. Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, back in the 80s, Jason and Freddy, they would kill a bunch of kids that are having sex, and they would kill them in some gory ways. But I think sometimes some movies nowadays would just like cash cow on that. And yeah, I don't know. Just when I pay to go see a horror movie, I want to be scared. I don't want to be like, okay, this is going to make me puke, you know?
Exactly. Give me my money.
Yeah, exactly. But okay, so we got all that cool stuff out of the way. Okay, you know, I have a sense, like, I don't know how old you are, but you definitely are, like, you grew up around like 80s and 90s, so you're probably close to my age or maybe a little bit younger.
Baby.
What's that?
Oh no, I'm definitely 8.
Yeah. I was born in 85. So yeah. But when it comes, yeah. But do you have like a favorite horror game series?
Right off my tongue, I do not at the moment. It's just something I follow.
Mm-hmm.
When I was growing up. No, really, at the moment, I'm just coming to mind. Oh man.
See, I was a big fan of Clock Tower, if you remember that.
You remember that?
Yeah,
Was it Limit?
I think so. Yeah. Mm, very cool. Well, we're about like 38 minutes in. I don't know if you want to talk about anything else horror related, but it was really cool to get to know you and have you on the show.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on the show. Like you said,
sorry, anybody, if you're listening and you're hearing the static, you know, but yeah. But yeah, definitely.
We have a lot of feedback.
Yeah, but definitely you're more than welcome to come back on the show to promote more stuff, or if you ever got free time, you know, besides doing interviews, me and my co-hosts and other people come on the show and we'll just talk about random horror topics. Like we'll talk about, like, a while back, me, my co-host, and another friend of the show who's been a guest, we talked about Rosemary's Baby. Just, you know, sometimes we just want to take one horror movie that we grew up on and just talk a whole hour about it, because why not? It's fun.
Yeah, that would be awesome. I would definitely like to come on and talk some more.
Yeah. Well, you're more than welcome. Even if, or if you got a topic, you know, like, hey, let's talk about this movie. Let me rewatch it, and then heck yeah.
That would be awesome. Yeah, we can definitely do that, especially with Halloween coming up right around the corner.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, you could definitely make you can make a 3-part series on like the evolution of the Halloween movies, how they got from great to worse than great again.
Indeed.
Yeah. But
just like to say thank you again for the opportunity.
Not a problem. I hope you had a good time.
Yeah, definitely check out the WoW. You can contact me on real_23 on my Instagram. Comics. Kickstarter as well. For the next 2 weeks until November 10th or 11th. All right. And this is a wild episode.
Yeah.
Be careful.
All right. Well, you all have a good weekend. Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Eddie, for stopping by. I appreciate it. Thank you for anyone going to be watching afterwards in the replay. And you all have a great night and happy Halloween. Bye.
Halloween.